Alright, let's talk about this. VRChat is getting a premium paid program. That's literally all that's happening. And is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? Well, everyone wants to say that it's like a bad thing. And there are elements of it that are bad, but I think that I'm going to try to look at this from the most neutral standpoint that I can. And I'm going to try to review it as if I had no idea what VRChat was. So, the features that are there are for people that support them. It's kind of hard to really say that I'm enthused by this. Because honestly, I am not. And here's why. For the good that they're doing, for actually working on the game, cool. That sounds pretty neat. And I think I'll start with the positives for this game that are going to be coming. Number one, it's still free. That's good. They're not going to put a price tag on it, hopefully, other than for VRChat Plus. For VRChat, the game itself, it's still free. You can still play it, you can still access all your worlds, all your avatars, all of the things that you can do to upload to VRChat. It's still all free. Now, the problem that people have, well, at least there's a lot of problems that people have with this, but some of the main problems are that it's a paid-for thing and the game is buggy. Okay, we'll get into that in a second. I'm talking about positives right now. Positive of the game is that, essentially, it's still free. There's still a lot of the same stuff. You can still upload worlds. The same systems are still more or less in play. You can still block or do other things with people. And it's still all good. At least in terms of the features that are there. But that's really where the long and short of it ends, unfortunately. That the game is still free. You can still upload avatars. None of that is changing. A few more positives. You get more favorite slots for everyone, regardless of whether or not you purchase the game or purchase VRChat Plus. That's pretty good. 25 favorite slots, fantastic. While 16 is a good amount, the amount of favorite slots that people tend to try, at least in terms of VRChat, 16 is not enough. I told people for a long time that at least 20 would be sufficient. Because 20 is still a pretty decent amount. But 16, while good, might not be as good as we know it now. Maybe at the time, but yeah. But one of the big reasons why I think that they're going to continue it at a limit is because they want people more or less to upload avatars to actual things. And that's one of the reasons why I got into avatar making for VRChat in the first place, is because of the sheer fact that I didn't have enough favorite slots, and there was a lot of VRChat, or at least base models that I wanted to put on my own spin. And it helps. It's actually gotten me some business to actually make a little bit of money, and I'm finally actually spending that money that I got from those people. And it's one of the big things is it's actually, now that I think about it, it's gotten me to purchase games with that actual money, and that's really weird to say, that I was paid by people to do things, or to at least make avatars for people. And that's pretty insane. And I'm fairly certain that that's not really going to change in terms of the total grandeur of what's going to be happening to VRChat. Are there going to be some problems with it? Sure, absolutely. Like, there's problems with everything. My own thing is, well, this is where we're going to get into the negatives. One of the big negatives is that it's still not, well, it still has a lot of bugs, and a lot of newer bugs, and some bugs that are very, very old. And the devs just don't seem to care, or at least don't seem to take people's opinions or ways of fixing the actual game to try and, you know, get things working properly. There's no testing phase, there's no way to push out tests or things like that, betas and whatnot, for people to test, for them to push out more fixed and working updates, at least in terms of what they're doing. A lot of people have gotten upset over the fact that whenever they fix a few things, they break several other things that, in turn, just don't work. I mean, is the new nameplate system good? I don't know. It looks fine, but I wouldn't really call that a big old positive. While nameplates are okay, I'd still at least like to see a difference between your friends and not your friends. If that's not the case, that's gonna be a little bit of a problem. At least in identifying who's your friend and who's not your friend, because you'd really only have the list. Or at least the list of your friends, or memorize who your friends are. But in essence, it might break some things in terms of what they're doing. But that's neither here nor there. One of the big things that I think is a negative is the sheer fact that it's just not worth it, in my personal opinion. This is my own personal opinion. It's not worth it to me to pay $10 for a game that is essentially broken. Not the fact that it's free, because I have spent money on free games. I've spent money on things like TF2 a little bit. I don't think I spent any money on phone games, but I have spent money on free games, and on other things that are not necessarily good, or at least in terms of this, they're not necessarily beneficial to me, I guess. It's very hard to say. I spent money on Patreons and things that I could probably get for free or pirate them, but I want to support those creators because those creators are making things that I want, and they're doing good jobs. And that's one of the big things that I think is the big fundamental problem with VRChat Plus. And in turn, it's the reason why I can't support it. It's because people vote with their dollar, in a way. They support with their dollar, and they support people with that money. To say that I can support something like this with my dollar is kind of like saying, or supporting an addict in some ways. Because the game does have some core fundamental issues. Things like optimization, which they shunt off onto other people, or the creators of the game, or the creators of the world, which they could probably easily have optimized, or at least in a lot of ways optimize it themselves for other people. But people have to find these roundabout ways in their own way to make it better, to keep it as minimal as possible. There could be other things like fixing certain issues. One of the big things that is at least my personal problem, is that my cache is too small, but that's mainly because of where the VRChat cache is automatically stored. So that's a big dumb move on my part, because when I originally installed the game, on my computer. I installed it on my C drive, which was the smaller of the two, and not my D drive. Yes, I load things faster because it's a solid state drive, but it has far less space, and it's only getting more crammed and crammed and crammed in there. And if I had another solid state drive, I would want to try to get the folder into there, but I don't know how to specifically do that. I get a new computer, but I probably just need to get a new computer at this point, or something like that. In any case, one of, if not the biggest things, is that they seem to just not care about their community, and how they themselves are viewed. I mean, one of the weirder insults is the sheer fact that, well, just look at the YouTube video for when they actually announced this. That's a big old yikes. Not only because it got ratioed to heck, but because the comments were also disabled, which is just a lot of the other people, or at least some of the channels that I watch, when their comments are disabled and when their like to dislike ratios are that bad, or even in some cases hidden, it is a terrible reflection of the kind of character that happens in these kinds of scenarios. Is it bad? Is it good? I don't know. But to harken back to Dr. Seuss and the Lorax, which I did actually watch the film theory on this, and your opinion on Matt Pat is whatever. I like him as a content creator. I don't take his stuff that he says too seriously. If he gets something wrong, he gets something wrong. Cool. But one of the things is the Lorax itself has a line in it that rings a lot of truth if you really break down what it means. And that is, unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing will really get better. It's not. And it's not saying that the Onceler was a bad person. It's just that he was a product of necessity. And one of the interesting things is, if you really think about it, Thneeds is just, if you put an E in there and space out the words, it's literally called the need. Not sure if, I think that's kind of what Dr. Seuss was going for, but whatever. We can debate on Dr. Seuss all day. The point is, to people who want to support this, I'm not going to stop you, and I'm not going to say that you're wasting your money. Or I'm not even going to say that you're really making a bad decision. I'm just saying that when you put your dollar towards something like VRChat, towards something like Facebook, towards something like actual doing it, when you put forth your money, you are telling that person or that company that you are doing a good thing. You're doing a good job, and that's at least what they're hearing, and they're doing something that's profitable. And you're essentially telling them that you want this, and you want them to keep going. And our wants and our needs are two very different things, and our wants change all the time. And that can be debated on a philosophical level, whatever. But here's my big thing. I'm not going to support them with my dollar. Personally. It is more of my own reasons. I might support them in the future. But VRChat itself, to me, is not worth supporting them with a subscription service of $10. If I could get some of those features for paying them once, I might support them in that way. But I don't feel like I should pay them for that reason. This is my own personal opinion. And I'm not saying that you're a bad person for supporting them. But in essence, I don't want to support them. Because I feel like there's a lot of issues that they need to solve first before I can confidently give them money. They're not a bad company, but in essence, I can't support them. That's just my opinion. Anyway, this went on far longer than I thought it would, and this is like the third, fourth take of this shit. I'm just going to end it here and say, if you want to support them, go right ahead. But I will not. In any case, thank you so much for watching. If you want to see the actual video or the update that they posted, I'll try to find those and link them in the description. I'll at least link the video in the description. And that's going to be really that. In any case, thank you so much for watching, and peace off.